On this horror timeline, we're actually going to check out the Omen series. That's right, this is actually a big one with a lot of continuity issues and time frame issues. So this one will be pretty interesting to discuss. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty interesting. It's about a family that finds out that their kid is actually the son of the devil and the Antichrist, and they know it because there's a 666 in their hair behind their ears, and the family's not aware of it. Hold on. Stella? Come here, babe. We need to check something, okay? Damien first reared his little head back in 1976 with The Omen. Directed by Richard Donner of Superman fame, it starts off by telling us that it's June 6th at 6 a.m. So 6 at 6. I mean, it's super spooky already, right?
Super spooky.
Gregory Peck is here, and he's told his child has died in childbirth, but luckily they just happen to have this spare baby, all ready to go. Time passes, and Robert becomes an ambassador, and little Damien grows up rather quickly, and we see several years pass until we finally get to his 5th birthday party. Evil shows up, and so does a good boy, and his nanny gives him a special birthday gift. Doctor Who pops in, and they hire a new caretaker, and the little tyke is a pretty acute aversion to churches. I mean, I have the same reaction, so... Oh, yeah? They go to the zoo, and their car tags let us know that it's 1976, so Damien was born in 1971. Troughton gets spiked, and, what's this painting? Little guy puts his mom in the hospital, causing her to miscarry her pregnancy, and Robert and Keith go to investigate, discovering that they killed Robert's baby, and the tombstone actually has the Roman date of 1970 as the death date. So Damien, I guess, was born in 1970, and this movie actually takes place in 1975. Catherine takes a dive, and Robert is given a dagger, which is capable of killing the Antichrist, but Sark loses his MCP in the process. Damien is confirmed to have the mark of the devil, but when Robert takes him to a church to kill him, he's killed by police. And Damien wins, and oh, look at this. Look at this smug little son of a bitch. A sequel came pretty quick, and 2 years later, we got 1978's Damien, Omen 2. Bugenhagen is back, and this newspaper shows that we're a short time after the last one, and the paper's dated as 1976, so it appears that that's actually the year that the first one was set. I guess the tombstone was incorrect, which I guess is possible since they were being intentionally deceptive with it anyway. Carl says that it was a week ago and is quickly killed. We then jump to 7 years later, so Damien is now 12 years old, and I guess we're set in 1983, a little bit in the film's future, and he's living with his aunt and uncle in America. Damien is in military academy with Ed Harley as his commander, and instead of a killer dog, he has a killer raven. This newspaper shows events from 1977, so I guess events happen differently in this timeline, and Damien discovers that he is the Antichrist, which is weird, because it seemed like he had a knowledge of his own evil in the first film. I mean, he almost killed his mom and used his telekinesis against his enemies, so did he not know that he's evil and was just acting out? Hollywood Melrose pops in and then splits, and the daggers reappear. Damien kills his cousin, and Aunt Anne is revealed to be in cahoots with the Satanists and kills Richard, and then burns, and Damien is still smug. I mean, look at this little punchable face. So even though that film wasn't as successful, we saw the apparent conclusion of the trilogy in 1981 with Omen 3: The Final Conflict, although it was originally released as simply The Final Conflict. We're back in Chicago, and the daggers are recovered and sold, and then find out that times are tough, and we meet grown-up Damien, and it's now Alan Grant.
Alan!
He's much older now, so quite a bit of time has passed, and he's the head of Thorn Industries. And he's been that for 7 years, and he's very concerned about the second coming. He tells the president that he plans to run for the Senate in 2 years in 1984, which is a huge problem with the previous film's continuities. We know that the first film was 1976 and the second film 7 years later, which would be 1 year after he just gave us the date for. They say he's 32, so going with the birthday of 1971, it should be 2003 here if the timeline made any sense. Either way, 20 years have passed since the second film. This TV show says that he took over Thorne Industries 7 years ago in 1971, so I'm not sure that this movie even knows what year it takes place in because that would be 1978. So let's just assume that they have their facts wrong. Damien gets awkward with a statue, Jesus is reborn, and our boy takes out the priests who are after him, and his army has grown. They start killing all the babies that were born on the day of the second coming, which, that's pretty messed up.
I can't think of any other mainstream movie that has multiple babies being killed.
Babies do.
Yeah, it's pretty horrifying, right?
Kate discovers his secret, and when her son is killed, she stabs him with a dagger, and Damien dies while Jesus makes his grand entrance. So yeah, remember that final conflict thing? Well, forget about all that, because in 1991, they brought it back with Omen 4, The Awakening. And it was a TV movie, so I'm sure it'll be of the utmost quality. A little girl is born, and little Delia is adopted, and time passes, and Daddy Gene becomes a congressman.
What the?
Yes, Aslan.
That is the scariest thing in this whole series.
Pretty soon, Delia's a bad bitch, causing decapitations. They say that she's 8 years old and has started menstruating? And is she growing a mustache here? Not to pick on a little kid, but... Alright, instead I'll pick on this guy's mullet because it is glorious. Babysitters die. Time passes as Karen is soon 8 months pregnant, and Delia's birth papers seem to show her birth date as 10/2/81. So I guess we're set in 89 here. It seems like the papers are faked though, so the date could be off and Karen has her baby, so almost a year passes over the course of this film. It's a boy, and after some investigation, it's revealed that Delia is Damien's daughter, and I guess the baby boy is actually Delia's twin brother that she carried inside her, and they have implanted it in Karen.
Well,
That makes no sense.
yeah.
So it seems like Damien having a child would have been something that he would have talked about, so it feels more like the paperwork was fudged. And if the mother was Kate, then the baby would have been conceived in 82, probably born in 83, so it would be in real time 91 here. That's if we're following the timeline of the third movie and not having it actually take place in 2003, as we would think it would be if you followed all the previous films. Baby Alexander has 666 hands, which is way less subtle.
Oh, now I have to check the hands? Let me see your hands.
And Karen is killed. And wait a minute, if this is continuity with the last one, what the hell happened to the second coming? Did Jesus just come back and then just, go away? The world is entirely the same, so him coming back just really didn't seem to do any good. So, like everything, it got a remake with 2006, The Omen, 30 years after the original, and was released on June 6th, so 6606.
Spooky.
We see some real-life events from 01, 03, and 05, and we meet our new Robert, who's saber-toothy, and it's June 6th again. Like the original, they do a baby switch, and Kate got styles, and it would make sense to have his birthday also be on 6606, so that's probably when this part would be set. We bounce ahead past his second birthday, and then another 2 years later, and then his 5th birthday party, and everything's the same, really. But I guess we're set in 2011 here? At the earliest, we're in 2010, since they showed us shots from Katrina and the prologue. Kobayashi shows up, as does someone who knows a thing or two about devil children, and then there's a guy in a gorilla suit. Again, things are pretty much identical, although this online news article, I mean, first of all, I'm not sure that they would put a dead body photo like right up on the front page. But there's this article here that places us in 2006, which kind of doesn't make sense. That means that Damien would be born in June of 2001, before the events of 9/11 and the Columbia shuttle. So they kill Mrs. Thorne and they find Bugenhagen to get the knives. Keith loses his head. Robert tries to kill Damien but is shot by police, just like the original. Damien looks at the camera with a smug look, just like the original. I mean, everything in this movie happens just like the original. You know what? Just watch the original.
So there you have it. It's 5 movies that don't make any sense whatsoever, and I think we're okay. It looks like it's just 3 9s. I don't know what year any of these movies were supposed to take place in, and I don't think that they did either. I think that they were supposed to just take place in the year that they were in, and Damien's age was not really supposed to matter, except for the fact of when it was taking place. Hey. Overall, these were fairly enjoyable. The original trilogy is actually pretty fun. The first one's a classic. I mean, it's the one that kind of set the mold. Second one's a little on the dull side. Third one is actually pretty enjoyable just for the grown-up aspect of it. And it's the ballsiness of killing multiple little babies, which is... it was still fairly shocking. I mean, I don't think you could get away with that in a movie from today. Part 4 you can kind of skip, and the remake you can absolutely skip. The remake is just the first movie again, almost exactly. It's not quite shot for shot, but it's fairly close. But so if you wanted to, you could skip it. But so I don't know. I mostly enjoyed these, but again, some of them don't hold up better than others. Oh no, the Devil Child is awakened. Well, that's about it for this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you are enjoying the Horror-a-thon. There's actually a couple more coming up. Next week's videos are going to be a little bit goofy, but then the Halloween video will be the one that you guys requested a few months back, so we're really looking forward to that one. I have a very nice surprise in store for that one as well, too. Well, let me know what you thought of this one down below. Please support the channel by liking, subscribing, doing the Patreon thing. And now I know that she's the Antichrist because she's destroying my green screen. And of course, as always, leave me your comments. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you thought of this video, and also let me know what you want to see in the future. That's about it for this week. I hope you guys are enjoying the Halloween videos, and I'll see you next week for another great video. Thanks, guys. Bye.